We begin the news with security matters, where Nuhu Ribadu, the National Security Advisor to the President, Bola Tinubu, has described the wave of security challenges in some parts of Nigeria as tough and difficult, but assured that they are surmountable. Ribadu, who paid a working visit to Jos, the Plateau state capital, following the killings in Boko's local government area of the state, says there is utmost need for collaboration among security agencies and other stakeholders. News Central's Chizoba Nyongwe has more.
President Bola Tinubu was speaking through the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, during his visit in Plateau State, following the fresh violent attack in Bokos that took many lives and razed numerous property. Addressing journalists after a courtesy visit on the General Officer Commanding 3 Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Folusho Oyinlola, he presents the condolences of the President.
I'm here, National Security Advisor, this morning, on behalf of our Commander-in-Chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to come and greet the people of Plateau, bring his own condolences of what we have just witnessed in the last few days, the crisis that erupted. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is saying that enough is enough. It has to stop, whatever it takes. Whatever we have done, we are able to achieve this improvement, like I said, relatively, is going to be doubled. We'll do more. We'll continue to do whatever it takes to ensure that there will be peace, security, so that our people will live normal lives.
The NSA had a word on the varying casualty figures making the round and the arrests made so far.
The brief I have is that I cannot give you a definite number of the casualties, but I was assured that it wasn't like what we were reading. Or what the media was saying. It probably will come later. You know, it's not good for one to say something that you have not, but certainly it's not as much as what is out there. And sometimes it's not also something you can instantly give figure to. It's a process. There are few people who are still out there, those who are in hospital, a couple of other things. It is not like you can be definite with the number. The only thing is that it's not true. The figures that were, taken out, it's not true. There are many people who are arrested. It's true. But I can assure you that you will see justice. Justice will be done.
He commended the effort of the Nigerian Armed Forces and other security agencies in de-escalating tension in the country.
I met with the governor, and I'm here in the office of the Commander Operation Safe Haven and the GOC 3rd Division to come and bring his own greetings and gratitude for the job well done they have done, the armed forces and other security services, in maintaining peace, restoring order quickly, acting instantly, and averting a major crisis. Nigeria will continue to be grateful to the members of the armed forces and the security services.
With this visit of the National Security Advisor to the President, all eyes on the Plateau will now be on the federal government to see what will be done differently to ensure that this incident doesn't reoccur again. From the headquarters of Operation Safe Haven in Plateau State, Chizoba Anyongwe, reporting for News Central.
Meanwhile, the Northern Christian Association of Nigeria has condemned the killings of residents in the Bokos local government area of Plateau State, which resulted in at least 52 fatalities. In a statement issued on Sunday, the chairman of Northern CAN, Reverend Joseph Hayab, described the massacre as barbaric, tragic, and utterly unacceptable. He extended condolences to the Plateau State Governor, Caleb Mutfwang, and the residents of the state. Hayab expressed concern over the recurring violence plaguing communities across northern Nigeria noting that the persistent culture of bloodshed continues to claim innocent lives. The body also appealed to citizens to remain calm, law-abiding, and to cooperate with security agencies by reporting suspicious activities. To discuss more on this, we're joined by the chairman of Northern Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Joseph Hayab. Thank you so much for joining us, Reverend Hayab.
Thank you for having me, and good evening to all Nigerians.
Good evening. Now, Reverend Hayab, what specific actions do you believe need to be taken, to address the recurring violence in northern Nigeria, especially in Plateau State?
We have been singing and reminding each other that security is not the business or the job of one institution alone. Security is supposed to be the business of everybody. I'm happy from the last report, the National Security Advisor himself did say that they need to reach out to many stakeholders. I think we've said this enough. Let's begin to act. Let's begin to reach out. People must learn, and when they see something, to say something. Unfortunately, the reason why people are saying things and are not saying it is because there is no trust, or there is a trust deficit. So government agencies must build trust with the people, build trust with the community, build trust with different organizations, so that people, when they see something, they will say something. We must not fold our arms and continue to see these killings happening. These killings have no religious foundation. These killings have no cultural foundation. These killings are actually bad for us as human beings. We're supposed to be one another's keepers. There is nothing that should make a fellow human being want to destroy another human being, taking his life or destroying his property or destroying whatever belongs to him. I don't think our religious book teaches us that. So why are we allowing this to happen in a community where the larger population are either Christians or Muslims? And even traditional worshippers, they too do not encourage killings. So who are we trying to please by doing all these things? So there is need for synergy. There is need for us to work together. There is need for us to speak against this kind of evil. There is need for government to really woo or win everybody in this fight against insecurity. We cannot every day after we're making progress, we come back again as if we've not done anything. This is sad for us. This is sad for our country. This is not even giving our country a good name. How can investors come to our land and invest when every day the next story is that people are being killed? Whether it's 1%, 2%, 3%, the number is not even the concern. The concern is that, is there any life that should be wasted? No.
Well, Reverend Hayab, in your statement, you mentioned the erosion of societal values as well. How can educational and religious institutions contribute to restoring, the values in communities across northern Nigeria?
Unfortunately, poverty has caused people not to actually sit and listen to any teaching, but in their homes, in places of worship and education. So we are lacking in this teaching. So there is need for families to begin to train their children in the way they should go, whether they are Christian family or Muslim family or traditional worshippers family. Families grew up with values, value of respect, value of protecting human being, value of sharing, value of ensuring that we speak well of one another. These things are no longer there. Unfortunately, our school system, it's not also happening, because most people think that going to school is to acquire a certificate and get a job. But I think that going to school to acquire education is more than getting a job. It's about building a better understanding of human relations. And unfortunately, these things are not there. So pastors have a role to play, imams have a role to play, parents have a role to play, and government must help these other institutions in ensuring that the training and the teachings about values are properly done, so that our children and future generations will say no to any form of violence, will say no to any instigation to kill another person. We are supposed to be members of one human extreme family. You see me as your brother, I see you as my brother. We work together as neighbors. We work together as whatever profession we belong, securing our community. But why should we wait, or why should we every day wake up and hear killings in this state, killing in another state? This is not good for Nigeria. So Encouraging values that promote unity, that promotes love, that promotes togetherness is something that every Nigerian must go back and do. We must not hide under either culture or religion or anything, because nobody comes from a place where they will be proud to say they want to be called killers. They will be proud to be called thieves. Everybody wants a good name. So let's promote that in our homes. And I challenge parents. I begin with myself. What am I telling my children? What example am I teaching my children? Do I sit with my children and tell them that my neighbors are bad? Do I sit with my children and tell them that the other person who is not of my religion is evil? Well, if I do that, then I'm not helping. So I need to repent and begin to speak well of other people so that my children will not be tempted to do that. So if every Nigerian begins to think that way, then we will have a change. We are offering ourselves to collaborate with government security agencies to see how we can promote this going forward, because the killing should stop.
Absolutely, Reverend Hayab. Thank you so much for your time and for speaking to us on this.
Thank you too for having me, and I pray that God will bring back peace to Plateau State and every part of Nigeria.
Amen to that.
Thank you.
The Nigerian police force has withdrawn its earlier invitation to Emir Aminu Sanusi II over the March 30th incident in Kano during the Salah celebration. Now, initially, Sanusi was invited to provide his account of the events, but following advice from stakeholders, the Inspector General of Police directed the Force Intelligence Department to obtain his statement in Kano. This followed a prior agreement between the police and Kano emirs to suspend separate Durbar festivals to prevent violence. However, Sanusi proceeded to ride a horse after Eid prayers, triggering a clash that led to the death of one person and injuries to others. The police have made arrests and remain committed to a thorough investigation. To discuss more on this, we're joined by a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst, Towo Oseruoja. Thank you for joining us on the news, Towo.
You're welcome and good evening.
Now, good evening, Towo. Speak to us on the legal consequences of the police withdrawing their invitation to Emir Sanusi and, having the intelligence department handle his statement instead.
Well, there is no legal consequences for the withdrawal, but there are also great consequences for the action of the police, because from all indication, like I said earlier, there's no legal consequences, but there are great consequences on the side of the police for taking the step they have taken earlier. Because if you look at it from all perspectives, we have the state command in Kano State. We have a zonal command in Kano State. The state command is headed by a commissioner of police, which is a senior officer of the Nigeria Police Force. Then if you look at the zonal command is headed by an assistant inspector general of police. And they have all the apparatus and everything it takes for them to have invite or investigate any alleged crime that might have committed that March 30th. So for the force headquarters to take over such role, that is why I said it has greater consequences on the police, because you will now see that an institution that is run by the dictate of individual, rather than the law that creates that institution, anarchy and confusion is inevitable. So, and also it also exposes and weakens their credibility or their impartial stand when it comes to issue of security, when it comes to issue of protection of life and property. So that is just it. That is the consequences, but legally there is no consequence.
Okay, Towo. Now, since there was an agreement, between the police and also, the emirs in Kano to stop the Durbar festival, is it possible that the emir could be legally responsible for causing public unrest after Eid prayers?
Now, the question will not be that is the side of the police. We've not heard from the side of the state governor. Neither have we heard from the side of the emir if such an agreement is in place. But you will recall that what we heard or what we read was the police giving directive that there should be no tomba or the Salah festival taken in the horse ride and all those stuff. But if you look at it from our perspective, one, it is the duty of the police It is the duty and responsibility of the police to protect life and property. But you could also recall that it's also the constitutional right of every citizen by virtue of Section 40 of the Constitution for peaceful assembly. And how that peaceful assembly is being done, anything that happens as a result of that, people who are found wanting, not people who organize the peaceful assembly, people who are found wanting, who in one way or the other take advantage of that peaceful gathering will be held responsible. So these are things we should all outline. So even if there is an agreement and the emir decided to go on horse riding, as they have said, and the police who are to protect life and property, now the question will not be, is it the emir that killed or that instigated the people who committed such an act? Those are things that will be put in place. Those are things that will be looked before the law, not because, okay, went on horse riding or they agreed. Remember, it's an agreement. It's not written, so it's not an issue of force of law that he must abide to. And if you look at it from the Constitution also, the Constitution protects, if you look at Section 21, it protects and preserves the culture of Nigeria. And you could recall that that festival or that method has become part and parcel of the Emirate Council in the northern part of Nigeria.
Okay. Now, just before we let you go, generally speaking, how can the police ensure that they stay neutral and professional, especially when investigating cases involving important figures like the emir?
Well, that's the issue some of us are concerned about, because if you look at it carefully, you discover that somehow, like somebody once said, that the police is basically the security arm of any ruling party at the center or at a state where it's favorable to them. Because if you look at it somehow, we are all equal, and if the police has taken the right step, they don't need to send people from Abuja. All they need to do is the commissioner of police inviting, because the police don't need to go to the emir, because the emir is not immune. And I'll make it clear, the emir is not immune from investigation or prosecution of any offense. So giving such professional treatment is another great consequences to the Nigerian police and to Nigeria as a society at large, because it now boils down to, well, everybody has a way and manner in which they are being treated. So I don't think from all intent and purpose that the police has exhibited, I will use the word, has exhibited that level of impartiality when it comes to issues of this nature. They've been the oldest institution we inherited from our colonial masters, and I believe over time they ought to have breaking themselves from that shackles of master-servant relationship, which they were made to during the colonial era, to be an institution that is unbiased and protects life and property, just like even their masters who colonized them and established the Nigeria police. You can find this in the UK, in England, who is our colonial masters. The police are independent. But now, Nigeria, we are still under the whims and caprices of politicians, of individuals who dictate the tune of how the police will operate rather than the law.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time and for speaking to us on this tour.
You are welcome.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission has expressed doubt over the likelihood of the petitioners calling for the recall of the senator representing Kogi Central Senatorial District, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, meeting the required number of signatures to initiate a fresh recall process. The commission stated this following the renewed push by the petitioners to mobilize more constituents against Akpoti-Uduaghan and ensure her recall after INEC dismissed their first petition. Now, INEC, in a statement on Thursday, dismissed the petition seeking Akpoti-Uduaghan's recall, declaring that it failed to meet the constitutional requirements outlined in Section 69, subsection A of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999. But the petitioners said they remained unperturbed by INEC's stance, insisting that there was no going back on their resolve to bring the Kogi senator back home. Joining us to discuss more on this is the press secretary of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, in Kogi State, Isaiah Ijele. Thank you so much for joining us on the news, Isaiah.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for having me once again.
All right, so what is your party's stance on INEC's decision to dismiss the recall petition against Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan?
Okay. You see, as a matter of fact, from the beginning, from the the starting point of this whole recalling Brahaha, we all know that it's going to be a fruitless mission, because you cannot even recall whom you didn't call. These people that are agitating or standing for the recall of Senator Natasha today were not her supporters. Those are not the people that stood and voted her in. They have been with the puppet and the puppeteer all the while. So they saw an opportunity to also milk the puppet and the puppeteer and giving them hope of what they cannot do. Its mission impossible. You see, I said it earlier on that station that it is easier for 20 camels and 20 cows to pass through the eyes of a needle than recalling Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan. It is not possible. You cannot recall a performing senator. You cannot recall a senator that has been given the dividend of democracy, of constituency project to her people. Even the lady on the pajamas that went to INEC to submit the petition, her father was a beneficiary of Senator Natasha empowerment with motorcycle. How can you recall such person? So even your own house will be against you. You see, we as SDP, we are after the rule of law. We are after that opposition must not be silenced in the democratic norms. We are very concerned that this is the same thing that did to us in the 2023 general Kogi State gubernatorial election, where we were all victimized. We were chased out of our homes with guns, with ammunition. We all escaped assassination. It is not. Sometimes I wonder if Kogi State is part of Nigeria. If the rule of law is applicable to this state, because the kind of policy that gets heated in that place is politics of taking life, killing, destruction.
Well, Isaiah, I do remember some of these incidences that you've actually mentioned. But, you know, let's stick to the topic of discussion. Now, talking about Natasha's recall. Now, since the initial petition failed to meet the required 50% signature threshold, what do you think the chances are for a successful recall effort moving forward?
There is no any chance. My sister, let's not deceive ourselves. Those signatures they're talking about, even about 29,000 plus that INEC said was not verified, they are all cook and bush, forged signatures. Have you not heard of the petition that have been submitted to the Inspector General of Police about the forged signatures? You see, what they did was just a manual tally. I mean, corresponding the data, tallying it and looking into the system. It is what they say they have just confirmed. They have not gone on the field for physical verification. When they step on the field for physical verification, I can assure you, they won't get 20,000. They will not even get 10,000 people that will come out boldly in a broad daylight that they want to recall Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan. It's not possible.
So you're saying that the process is a done deal, according to INEC, and you think the issue has truly been resolved?
Even if they come up 10 times, they will fail 100 times. In fact, the Asian book said they shall come against you in one way and flee in 7 ways. So no matter how they come, they will flee in 10 ways. It is not possible. You don't get it. You cannot have the grassroots and they want to recall you. I said it. The only way that they will succeed in recalling Senator Natasha is if only and only they apply the lawlessness to their process, and maybe overnight announce the result of the referendum or whatever they got as according to what they can announce. We have seen it in several locations. In others' elections, we have seen it happening. It happened to us, and it can happen any day. So I don't trust the process of this government. I don't trust their sense of judgment that is truly and accrue to the rule of law. I don't trust them standing by the order of what INEC are really saying. Today, INEC might say something today, tomorrow they say another thing. The last time they said there was no signature on it or something, no address. Before you know it, some address came out, which was even still not the main. There is nothing like that in the Okene, as is or in the Okene or in Adabi or in the other part of Kogi State. There was nothing of such. Now, before you know it, they come up with another. So we are concerned that they can come up with another story tomorrow and say the recalling proceed. That is not even our fear. But not standing by the rule of law is only what we are concerned about. But if they are going to stand by the rule of law, if they are going to come to the field for physical verification, trust me, I am telling you this, that they will not get 20,000. They will not get. That lady has worked very hard. She worked for her election. She won the electorally. Her supporters are organic supporters. These are not buying and selling of votes during election. Election were declared inconclusive, and then before you know it, they announce anything. That is not the case. See, I can tell you categorically as a co-guy, as someone that was part of the election, don't forget, I was also on the ballot for, as a Senate for Kogi East in the same election. So I know everything that happened with the election as a candidate of that election. As someone that is on the ballot, I can tell you that Senator Natasha won her election hands down.
All right.
100%.
All right.
No
thank you so much, Isaiah. Sadly, we have to actually stop here. We appreciate you for your time.
Thank you.
Away from that, women in Rivers State are sounding the alarm about the potential manipulation of youths amid the emergency rule in the state. Now, this comes as concerned women, both Christians and Muslims, converged on a praying ground in Port Harcourt, the state capital, praying for the reinstatement of suspended Governor Fubara. News Central correspondent Biola Festus has more.
We realize that sin is a mocker.
On one side of the field, the Christian women are congregating, while on the other side are these Muslim sisters with one mission: the divine intervention of God in River State's affairs. This interfaith gathering showcases their united support for the reinstatement of suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara.
We have brought our problems to God. He alone will give us victory. We are not violent people. Our governor is a peaceful person, and we are peaceful River State. But the state of emergency has put us in a position that we can't go about doing the things we ought to do. They should lift this state of emergency and restore our governor.
We are pleading to the government to give us peace, restore our governor. No matter the situation, Port Harcourt is calm, River State is calm. The 23 local governments, they are all calm and peaceful.
All adorned in blue, signifying the official color of River State. This prayer meeting has become a weekly ritual, and these women are not relenting until River State is back to democratic rule. According to them, a once royal people have been thrown into the mud.
This thing that they did now, taking us back more than 10 steps. We are very close to the government. Government is close to the people. Go to the market, interview anybody, they will tell you how good we are getting it in the state. We Muslims, before we feel as if we are oppressed. But right now, you can see we are here now. You can pray wherever you want to pray. Nobody is stopping you. And it interacts well with the non-indigenous.
Blue stands for restoration. Blue stands for blessings and peace. We will continue to be holding the prayers until there is restoration in River State.
The women believe that the state has been betrayed by its own, and avenues to resolve the current crisis may have as well been compromised. As things stand, They are concerned that their children might be exploited by politicians to spark unrest, highlighting concerns about the potential for youth involvement in political tensions and the need for protection and guidance.
The sole administrator has shut down every commission, boards and all that. So no new investment is coming in. For 6 months, if there are no new investment, the development of the state will be on hold and people are going to suffer. And it's going to affect Rivers people first and the nation first. Our youths are very restive. They can't endure this thing for too long.
The president has a wife. When things are hot, the women intervene. Our soft nature comes to play to say, my husband, this action you are taking, is it the right thing? Is it provided for in the Constitution? Or you are playing the tape of somebody?
It has been a 3-week streak. These women from across the 23 local government areas of Rivers State have been gathering in this same venue, supplicating God for the restoration of the suspended governor. In Port Harcourt, for News Central, Biola Festus.
Former Oyo State Governor Dr. Victor Omololu Olunloyo has passed away at the age of 89, few days to his 90th birthday. Now, his family confirmed the news in a statement on Sunday, revealing that he died at a private hospital in Ibadan after a brief illness. His wife, Mrs. Ronke Olunloyo, shared that preparations were underway for his 90th birthday celebration set for later this month. Dr. Olunloyo, a renowned mathematician, engineer, and technocrat, served as the first rector of Kwara State Polytechnic, among other distinguished roles. His family reflects on his extensive contributions to the nation and his legacy. Arrangements for his funeral are now being made. May his soul rest in peace. In the same vein, President Bola Tinubu has expressed heartfelt condolences to the people of Oyo State following the death of the former governor of the old Oyo State. In a statement by his spokesman, Bayo Ononuga, Tinubu extends sympathies to the Olunloyo family and all who admired the late elder statesman. Dr. Olunloyo, renowned for his brilliance in applied mathematics and number theory, made significant contributions as the founding rector of the Polytechnic Ibadan and Kwara State Polytechnic. His leadership left a lasting impact on Nigeria's educational system. Tinubu praised Olunloyo for his dedication to education, national development, and his brief but visionary tenure as governor. He prayed for eternal peace for the late scholar and statesman. The allure of waterfront living, the promise of serene views, and the pressure of a rapidly growing population have led to a concerning trend in Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, identified as the encroachment of waterways. Now, from individual homes to sprawling estates and malls, construction of private property has now reduced several major waterways to water channels, which experts say pose a great risk to residents. News Central's correspondent Aishat Salihu examines the issues around this trend and possible solutions.
Construction of private property beneath bridges following the encroachment of waterways is now becoming a popular trend in Abuja. A visit to several satellite communities such as Karu, Orozo, Bayagi, and others has identified the erection of private property along water channels as citizens now encroach on the capital's waterways. Experts say that the consequences of building on these floodplains and within designated buffer zones extend beyond property damage, as stagnant water also creates breeding grounds for mosquitoes, thereby increasing the risk of malaria and other waterborne diseases. This also makes sanitation a major challenge, further jeopardizing the health of residents.
If anybody goes to build on waterways, is automatically going against the development control regulation for FCT. We all know what happened last year or some previous years. We all knew what happened some previous year ago, whereby there's this blockage of the water channels that led to flooding in some estates. If you go to Lokogoma, one other estate along Lugbe, and lives were lost. Lives of innocent citizens were lost.
Although the FCTA acknowledges the problem, residents who live within these areas, while speaking off camera, say that this has been possible because enforcement is weak. Many claim that permits were granted in error or that illegal structures are being allowed to proliferate affected waterways without timely intervention. Experts in the construction sector warn that this will further contribute to environmental hazards and natural disasters if left unchecked.
So water is not it's natural that water flows, right? It's natural. But you building on this path, you understand, blocking the canal way or the channel for water, that's when you begin to have issues like flooding. Aside the fact that drainage systems are being blocked by waste, understand, from the environment.
Waterways encroachment degrades natural ecosystems, disrupts drainage patterns, and can lead to the pollution of water sources. While the delicate balance of the environment is disrupted for short-term gains, the big question is, what can be done to end this trend?
Once you don't get a building plan approval, your building plan is not approved for you to commence building, and you erect any building anywhere, automatically that building is considered as an illegal structure. And once it's a illegal structure, the department, which is development control, have the right to go in there and pull down your building.
For residents living in these precarious conditions, the fear of the next heavy rainfall looms large. They are caught between the need for shelter and the constant threat of disaster.
The beauty of Abuja should not come at the cost of the safety and well-being of its residents. Ignoring the dangers of encroaching waterways is a disaster waiting to happen. It is time now to take proactive actions just to ensure there is safety of lives, property, and the environment. In the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
Away from Nigeria and to Central Africa, heavy downpours in the Democratic Republic of Congo's capital, Kinshasa, have killed around 30 people while wreaking havoc across the Central African megacity. After the rain poured down overnight from Friday to Saturday, rising waters devastated several outlying suburbs of the metropolis of some 17 million people, with some residents forced to navigate the streets by canoe. Kinshasa's Provincial Minister of Public Health, Patricienne Abakazi, said the victims either drowned or were killed when the walls of their homes collapsed. The rising waters have paralyzed much of the haphazardly urbanized capital, cutting off traffic on National Road 1, Kinshasa's main thoroughfare, which leads from the city center to the airport. And let's join our business desk for today's news.
The federal government of Nigeria has acknowledged the recent imposition of a 14% tariff on Nigerian exports by the United States, stating its commitment to mitigating the impact while accelerating economic diversification. In a statement signed by the Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, which was released on Sunday, the government noted that while oil has long dominated Nigeria's exports to the U.S., non-oil products, many previously exempt under the African Growth and Opportunity Act, now face potential disruption. It added that the new 10% tariff on key categories may impact the competitiveness of Nigerian goods in the U.S. According to the statement, Nigeria's exports to the U.S. have averaged $5 to $6 billion annually over the past 2 years, with crude oil and mineral fuels accounting for over 90%. The Senate Committee on Solid Minerals has assured investors of strong legislative backing to protect and guarantee returns on their investments in Nigeria's solid minerals sector. Senator Onawo Mohammed Ogoshi, acting chairman of the committee and representative of Nasarawa South, gave the assurance over the weekend during an interactive session between the Senate Committee and a Chinese delegation exploring investment opportunities in Nigeria. The delegation, representing Zonghong Kotai Group, has opened discussions for an initial investment of $500 million in 3 Nigerian states, namely Zamfara, Kebbi, and Nasarawa. Senator Ogoshi noted that Nigeria is eager to diversify its revenue base and assured the delegation that the Senate is committed to enacting and amending laws to create a conducive environment for foreign investors. He encouraged the delegation to bring in more investors, saying Nigeria is open for business and rich in untapped mineral resources. The African Development Bank has disclosed that it will launch Phase 1 of the $538 million Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone program in Kaduna on April 8 and in Cross River on April 10, 2025 in Nigeria. Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones are part of a strategic initiative in Nigeria aimed at promoting agricultural industrialization. In a statement on Sunday, the Developmental Bank said the launch of the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones in Nigeria Phase 1 implementation flag-off is a transformative step toward agro-industrial development. The event, according to AB, is in collaboration with the African Development Bank Group and key partners, including the Islamic Development Bank, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, and the Africa Grow Together Fund. And that's all on business news. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
And let's join our sports desk for some sports stories.
In sports, the managing director of the Niger Delta Sports Commission, Samuel Ogbuku, has stated that the Niger Delta States Festival will now be held every 2 years. Hosting rights will rotate among the 9 states in the region, with a festival aimed at discovering grassroots talent to represent Nigeria in future competitions.
It is also going to be a biannual event where people from the region will always come together, and it's going to move from state to state among the 9 states of the Niger Delta. Part of the conditions for the sports festival is to ensure that we focus more on amateur so that these athletes can in future compete for at the federal level and the national level representing Nigeria, both at the All-African Games and at the Olympic Games. So that is what we are trying to achieve.
The Nigeria Cricket Federation, led by Uyi Akpata, earned praise from Lagos State following the successful ICC Under-19 Men's Cricket World Cup Africa qualifiers. Dignitaries including Lagos Sports Commission Chairman Lekon Fatodu and Youth Commissioner Mobolaji Ogunlende attended the final game alongside private sector representatives. The state reaffirmed its commitment to cricket development and grassroots sports, with plans to support training initiatives like the Train the Trainers project at Unilag. The event, hosted at the TBS and Unilag Cricket Ovals from the 28th of March to the 6th of April, concluded with Nigeria finishing 5th after a 15-run loss to Uganda. Tanzania topped the Six Nation group and secured the sole qualification spot for the 2026 Under-19 World Cup, joining South Africa and Zimbabwe. In football, Rivers United secured a crucial 1-0 victory over league leaders Remo Stars in a top-of-the-table clash in the Nigeria Premier Football League. The intense encounter was decided by an 84th-minute strike from Bolu Sholomade, giving Rivers United all 3 points at home. Remo Stars remained first with 60 points despite the loss. Rivers United, now on 55 points, have closed the gap to just 5 points with a few matches left in the season. The result keeps the title race wide open as both teams eye the NPFL crown. Liverpool.
Well, that's all at this hour. But before we go, here's another look at some of our top stories. We told you that President Tinubu has pledged end to reign of terror, insecurity in Plateau as Northern Christian Association of Nigeria decried killings. We also told you that Inspector General of Police has directed FID operatives to obtain Alhaji Sanusi's statement in Kano. Finally, we told you that torrential rains have killed dozens and injured many in DR Congo's capital, Kinshasa. Remember, you can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.